Okay, guys. Hey everyone, welcome to the RNA podcast. We got a fantastic episode for you today. Exposition! I love that term. It makes me sound like I know what I'm talking about, man.
It's a pretty smart sounding
Greatest
term.
thing ever. Yeah, I know, right? Makes up for my shit taste. So joining
Almost.
joining us on the episode is Bo Wizard. Introduce yourself.
Ohio Watashi wa Weeabu
Fuck you, weeaboo. Oh my god.
No,
I watch anime, but I don't need to hear this shit. Becker.
What?
I mean, I was just saying your name.
I know, but what do you want, man? Like,
why do you say hi?
oh, hey, how you doing? How's your day? I love you.
Oh, that's pretty good. Thanks for asking,
Yeah.
man.
Fuck you. But anyway.
And, Smurf Rock Rune.
Hey guys. I don't really have anything else to say here. I'm not prepared for this. For the intro.
No.
Welcome to the party.
Same PBH. And, me, Dude Man. Again, no one knows who the fuck I am. I'm kinda sad about it, but...
Do you think
you'll
people
get there
ever know
eventually.
who you are, though? Like, you
people
say this
know.
every time you host a podcast. Like,
I think
I say it every single time.
at this point people probably
let's
know
be
you.
honest.
I
Or they
feel
just know
like
you
people
as that guy
know
that they
you
don't know.
to some extent.
I
But
still don't know who the fuck he is.
No.
Fuck you, guy. God. Don't even be a dick like that. Okay, so... Exposition. Basically, for those of you who don't know, exposition is when you do something like an info dump, or you give background. You basically give the user, or not the user, the viewer,
Audience.
a lot of, the audience, a lot of information about a certain topic or subject within the anime.
So pretty much what he's doing now, guys.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm giving you exposition,
It's kinda
guys.
It's a
Meta.
deconstruction
TVO.
of exposition.
Guys, this is way too meta for me.
this is...
Too fast, too meta. fucking hate that term. Okay, so we can think of a lot of examples of exposition. So one thing we're going to bring up is Sword Art Online. Just so you have a good idea of what some examples of exposition are. One would be the second half of episode 1 in Sword Art Online, where they go to great length to just give you a massive info dump explaining the whole...
Like the whole
No.
situation.
Just
Yeah.
throws
the whole
up all
situation.
this information into your face. It's kind of gross. TBH.
Sword Art Online
Yeah,
is a video
exactly.
game. A video game is what people play in their spare time.
you die in the game, you die in real life.
Oh my god.
And then everyone shits their
that's-
pants.
That's pretty fucking intense, TBH.
Wait, I can't remember. Like,
I mean-
in the first episode and the second half, are they inside the video game yet, or is that all?
Yeah.
like,
Yeah, they
starts?
are.
Okay.
It pretty much starts with them in the game. And then the first half is them just normal video game shenanigans. And then Kayaba kind of reveals the whole premise of the show in a long speech.
It's a really long
Yeah.
speech, now that I think about it.
So,
I had a,
he basically just gives you a massive info dump, and that's the example of exposition.
I had a dream
Uh,
where people die when they're killed inside a video game.
He's not Martin Luther King.
Yo, but what if he was?
I'm pretty sure he's not.
Just think of...
But he might be. I don't know.
Oh, man. So, there's... What Sword Art Online did was just info dump, like straight info dump, where a character just narrates something for a long time. But it can happen in other ways as well. Like, you have world building, which is just over, like, what's the term? Voice-over narration, explaining concepts of the world. You can have flashbacks explaining, like, a character's past. You can have, like, stuff in the universe just showing you, like, things that happen. Or even background details and stuff. There's a lot of different ways to provide this information to the audience. And I guess, what are your opinions on it? How do you guys like exposition in your anime? Bo?
Oh.
You go, Smurf.
I
You
can
go first, Smurf.
Okay, I can go.
Yeah.
I don't mind exposition sometimes. I'm not a fan of, and I can't think of any specific example of this, but some shows just like to do like like to start the first episode with like a slideshow and just having a character just talk at you for 10 minutes, 10, 15 minutes, just telling you the history of the world and who everybody is and why there's a problem and what the problem is and what they're going to do to solve the problem. And I just, like, I just wish, I like Exposition a lot more when it's given to you gradually or
later on in the show.
Care about, or later on when you already care a bit about the characters or the environment, then I think a large info dump works a lot better that way.
What about you, Becker?
So yeah, I'm more of a fan when it's like given to you when you have a chance to like care about the world and characters, kind of like what Smurf said. Like if I'm gonna like care about this world, I need to know a little bit about it. I need to like see it in action first a little bit before I get like a whole bunch of information about it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And well, what about you?
It's gonna be a really bad way to word it, but as long as it's interesting and not boring, I'm okay with it. Like a lot of the time, it can be interesting and like you're engaged with it. And in that case, I really don't care. But if I'm just like just twiddling my thumbs, waiting for it to be over,
you're just looking at your watch, like, when the fuck is this gonna be over?
Yeah. And then I look at the time, and I'm only halfway through the episode.
I've definitely had that. That's kind of like a subjective. Like, you can't really like put that exact into words, but I've had that exact experience. I've been sitting through Exposition and just like constantly looking at the clock or constantly looking at the episode, how much time is left in the episode. It's like, can we just get to the story?
Like the chunk, like the meat of the show. Like,
can we just get past this already?
Yeah, I am not a fan. Usually, like, if it's something I know I'm not going to care about in the future, I'll just skip through until they stop the exposition. Especially in like the very first episode, I'm not a fan of it. Like, okay, I think I talked about this earlier, but like Dimension W at the start of the series did like a whole info dump about like what the premise of the show is before the OP, and they did it every single episode for like the next 4 episodes.
What I found funny about that was that you mentioned that in one of our previous episodes that you hated that they started that it was like part of the beginning of the OP.
Yeah.
And I said maybe they'll stop, and they stopped that very next episode that came out after our podcast. And I was like, oh cool, they stopped.
Yeah.
And then the very next episode after that, they did it again. I was like, oh well, no. I guess they just temporarily stopped it.
That sounds really frustrating.
Oh my god!
Like the show can't make up its mind.
I don't fucking know about it.
I think they've stopped now though, for good.
Oh,
until season 2, then they're gonna do it again.
It's getting a season 2.
Well, it might.
Shit.
Yeah, by that time everyone will have forgotten about whatever they're talking about. Isn't it like Spirals or something? I don't know. I haven't watched it.
They need to re-explain the concept of Dimension W again. Because on the very last episode, they'll need to re-explain it to everyone. Because they're like, we probably got some new viewers, TBH. They need to know what Dimension W is. Let's explain to them. Oh my god. But yeah, there are times where it's good. I mean, it varies. Like all other narrative choices, it's good. Like sometimes you can execute it well, sometimes you execute it in a really shit way, and it really is dependent up to whoever's directing it or writing it or whatever. But yeah, so going off, I gave an example. What about you guys? Can you guys think of like examples of exposition? If they're good, if they're shit.
Okay, so a famous example that a lot of people may know is the infamous episode 1 of Fate Zero, where it's almost entirely exposition. Like, let's not
40 minutes. It's double the length of a normal episode in Fate Zero, and it's just nothing but exposition. Go on, Fo.
Okay, so a lot of people really think it's dumb or something. There's a lot of talk about people going, oh, no, there's walking in circles, guys. It's so exciting. But in the end of the day, I thought it was like very interesting because not only do we get sort of an explanation of what's going on, but we get to like see the character motives as well, even if it's through like how they're acting while we're getting info dumped.
Yeah, I thought that the Fate Zero first episode was a unique way of doing a 40-minute exposition because, like, as I mentioned, I'm not a fan of just a character talking at you. But this, it was constantly jumping back and forth. It's constantly jumping between different people's perspectives as you meet each individual character and what their motivations are and why they want to, participate in the Holy Grail War or whatever. And so I did like how it was constantly jumping around and you got to see all sorts of different perspectives instead of just one person talking at you about facts. You're seeing the facts of the world and how it is, as well as character motivation and introductions.
Okay. Yeah. I wasn't the biggest fan of the episode, but then again, I probably skipped through half of it, so...
Well, don't get me wrong, I did not watch it all at once. I watched half of it, and then I stopped, and then I came back the next day and watched the second half of it. I just treated it as 2 episodes, basically.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But I kind of felt like a sense of accomplishment at the end, because Fate's the kind of show where there's so much going on that you need to kind of know, that it kind of required that at the beginning to set up everything else.
I mean, it's the first thing. That episode was the first thing that I saw that wasn't either Sword Art Online or Attack on Titan. So I'm like, holy shit, they're adults.
There are people that aren't teenagers in anime.
Oh, I don't know, man. I think that circle jerked a little too much because teenagers can offer like their own unique perspective on the world, but whatever. That's for another topic. We can't spoil our good stuff now. Gotta save it for like later episodes. What was I gonna say? Oh yeah, I think what I did, I skipped through it, and I was preferring to just see it in action rather than hear about it because I wasn't gonna remember everything they said in that episode. So yeah.
Right.
Smurf, what about you? Can you think of any examples of exposition? Notable ones?
Notable things of exposition? Yeah, I'm sometimes a fan of when you have a narrator that explains things as it's happening. So, I mean, I'm kind of a big JoJo fan. And
you are?
Yeah,
it's
man.
Yeah, what? Yeah, I've never heard of that.
Yeah,
this is news to me too.
Weird. I keep it kind of secret. I keep it up. Don't tell anybody.
Okay.
But I really like how they have a character named Speedwagon who just always yells everything that's happening and explains everything to the viewer. Sometimes, even when the viewer is fully aware of what's happening, he'll still yell it and explain to the viewer what's happening. So, like JoJo will be in a fight with somebody, and JoJo will get hit, and Speedwagon will be like, "Oh my God, JoJo just got hit," and then JoJo will be like, "Oh, I just got hit," and then he'll get hit again, and Speedwagon will be like, "Oh my God, he just got hit again." Like he doesn't really like he's very clear on.
He's very outspoken about how like what he's thinking and like what he's seeing.
I mean, if you knew Japanese, you could just listen to an episode and know exactly what's happening. Because Feedback is telling you everything. But I kind of like that because I feel like that's exactly how somebody would react in real life, even. I feel like if you saw really buff, muscly guys just absolutely beating each other up with, like, magical powers, I think I'd be freaking out and yelling everything that's happening, too. And so I can kind of relate to it. And I kind of like it because then if anything happens that I didn't quite catch, Speedwagon yelling it is sure to bring it to my attention.
Another example from JoJo. Was part 2 when the gemstone or whatever was falling off the cliff, and it's just so focused. There's like a shot of it sliding to like the edge of the cliff for like 5 seconds, and then we see everyone's face really tense, and then someone just points it out. They'll be like, "Oh my God, it's about to fall off!" Like, no shit.
Yeah,
I can't remember who that was.
In later seasons, they actually have a dedicated narrator, right?
There's
no, that also happened in the first season too.
They have an actual narrator sometimes.
Yeah, I like his voice.
It's good voice.
It's very It's very explainy, so it works well. Like he'll talk about like the background of a country, like they'll mention like Germany or something, and then the narrator will just go into like a frenzy, just talking about Germany, a place where the Nazis rule, and they did this, and they conducted experiments doing that, and now they're here doing this. It's just like, okay, thanks, narrator, man. I didn't know that.
He does that a lot for later stuff, and sometimes he'll just give you random information that's not relevant at all. Like, I rewatched an episode this morning where he was talking about Egypt, and he's talking about all sorts of different citizens of Egypt. He's like, yeah, this guy's white, but he looks white, but he's actually Egyptian. And this other guy is like brown, and he's actually this part of Egypt. And this guy over here is this skin color, so he's from this type of Egypt. And this guy over here is an Indian, and he has absolutely no relation to the rest of Egypt at all. And it's like, then why mention him?
Oh shit, man! Thanks, narrator. I didn't even know. Oh my god! Yo, that's pretty jokes, TBH. Oh man, that's actually fantastic. We need more we need people like him. Okay. Becker, you want to give an example of good or bad exposition?
So, I usually don't like just straight up info dumping, but if there's like one time where I kind of do like it, I don't mind it, is episode 4 of Shinsekai Yori. I don't think you guys have seen it, but in episode 4 of Shinsekai Yori, there's half the episode is just straight up info dumping about the world. It's essentially just world building, and I was like, oh, this is gonna be info dumping. I was like, oh shit, this is gonna be really boring. I'm gonna hate this. And then I actually kind of liked it. It was like the information I was given was like really interesting and like really well thought out. And I was like, oh, that's kind of nice. So it's like, it's not like straight up info dumping is necessarily bad. It's more like it can be like, it's most of the time just used badly. Like, the information being straight up info dumped isn't, like, particularly interesting. But in Shinsekai Yori, it was, like, really cool. And I was like, oh, this is cool stuff.
It's kind of like I assume in Shinsekai Yori, you said this was in the 4th episode.
Yes.
I'm assuming the first 3 episodes leave the viewer with some sort of questions about the world.
Yes.
And then episode 4 is like, hey,
a lot of things are explained. But even more things are explained throughout the show. Like, as the show goes on.
Okay. So I just came up with an interesting comparison for info dumping. We can say that info dumping is basically the tsundere of narrative devices, where it can be done well, but a lot of writers just use it as an easy way to just throw a bunch of information to people. Whereas the tsundere is kind of, it can be done well in certain characters, but a lot of writers maybe aren't as skilled, just kind of rely on that as an easy character archetype to just throw into a story.
Right.
Okay.
It's quick, simple, and it doesn't require too much, like, work, I guess?
Yeah. Exactly.
I totally see what you're saying. That's actually a really good comparison. I might use that.
Proud of myself.
Yeah, props, man. Good job.
I did something,
I mean, it makes perfect sense. It makes perfect sense considering, like, I've already talked about this in the past, but like the quality of writing in Japan isn't as great, like in like at least from what you see from anime, like compared to actual like novels, it's not very good. So a lot of the time, the info dump, it makes sense that they info dump as an attempt to to hide their shitty writing style.
I think I'm not sure if someone mentioned this. Sorry, I just stuck out, but I believe it's also because they assume their target audience is really stupid.
They like need to spoon feed their audience because they can't
that's what I hear often.
I mean, I can give examples of that, like where like the writer assumed his audience was smart, and then people fucking didn't get it, and then like they got mad.
I get. I kind of feel like I know what you're gonna say. Knowing you,
I feel like it's been like subtly hinting.
I'm gonna.
He's been subtly.
Go ahead and say what you want to say, but like
episode.
Like, go ahead,
I'll
or like, dude, man, go ahead and say what you
Did
want to
you
say.
fucking say my name?
What's
Holy
that?
Shit, we'll edit it. Don't worry. But I know I want you to go ahead with what you're gonna say, but I get the feeling I know what you're gonna say. Just go ahead. Okay.
No, I'm gonna talk.
Say
about
what you
later.
need to say.
No, I'm gonna talk about it later.
Oh,
Don't
okay,
worry,
all right,
I'm gonna
all right.
get to it. Oh yeah. So wait, what was I gonna say? Oh yeah. Oh, Smurf. Going off your example, I'm just curious. What would be the yandere of the writing device world? I'd like to know.
The yandere of the writing device.
Yeah. Yeah. No.
I guess Gino or
It's
Boti
kind
would be the yandere of the writing world.
Just murder everything and call it a plot. Oh my god. Jeez, man. I mean, okay, like I don't know, man. Like I mean, suffering's not my thing, so it's
I always had a feeling he was more like that really angsty teen. Like, have you ever been an angsty teen and wanted to kill everyone? Well, that's Geno Uruchi.
Yeah. I totally know where you're coming from.
I don't
man.
think I've ever wanted to just kill everyone, but I feel like I just want to like cause just destruction in general. Yeah.
Yeah, that's Geno Uruchi right there.
Oh my god.
He gets someone else to write a
Really?
premise for him, and he's like, okay, this person dies, this person dies, this person dies. I fucking hate this guy. They can go, like, suffer before they die.
Yeah. Oh my god. Okay, so I can think of other examples of exposition. I think most people have seen a sports anime. If you haven't, you really should watch one sports anime.
You watch Haikyuu.
They're really good.
Ping pong.
Yeah,
Watch
this-
ping pong.
both
Don't
also
listen to
ping
these plebs.
No, listen to these pleb. Wait a second. Oh my god. I almost called myself a pleb.
I mean, you wouldn't be
You
wrong.
are a pleb.
wow. Wow.
Hey man, I'm just
Okay.
dropping truth bombs here. Not much I can do about
just
it.
stating the facts.
Yeah. Hashtag facts.
Okay, yeah, so sports anime it's really common to see like an info dump where a character just straight up narrates something when they explain like a move
Mm-hmm.
or something.
Right.
Like, I think that happens in every single sports anime. There will always be like a concept that I don't know why I'm saying user. The
Viewer.
the audience is viewer is unfamiliar with. Yeah. The viewer is unfamiliar with. And it'll be like, oh, the viewer probably doesn't know what a fastball is. I need to explain what a fastball is. So they understand the importance of this.
Right.
I need to explain what a spike is so they get it.
So, I said Haikyuu. Haikyuu actually has one of my favorite ways of getting around this that I've seen in a while, where there's a couple of characters in Haikyuu that aren't familiar with the rules of volleyball. In case you guys didn't know, Haikyuu is a volleyball anime.
Oh, okay.
Well, I'm just saying that. I mean, I'm pretty sure you guys know, but I'm just saying to any audience members who aren't aware. There's a character in the first season who's like the club advisor or whatever, because they always have like a teacher assigned to each club. So he's the teacher assigned to the volleyball club, and he doesn't know anything about volleyball. So
He was just
But it
put there in
works
that position.
because or he was interested in volleyball and was interested in helping out the kids, but he doesn't really know about the sport himself. And so it kind of works because he doesn't know anything about the rules and all the techniques, and I don't really know much about the rules or the techniques. So whenever something comes up, they start talking about wing spikers, and I go, I don't know what a wing spiker is, and then this teacher goes, well, I don't know what a wing spiker is. So he asks, a wing spiker, what's that? And then someone gives him a really quick explanation of what a wing spiker is, and he goes, oh, okay, that makes sense. So they could do this, and it's yeah. And then me as an audience, that's me as a viewer, that's the exact question that I had, and the character in the anime is actually asking me questions that I have myself.
And then Speedwagon goes, oh my god, they just explained a wing spike.
Hey man, God, you know what? Fucking, that was a dank meme. Good job, man. Good job.
Okay.
Proud of you.
On a not a sports anime, but almost completely related. Like, you guys mentioned how like they had to explain every move they did, and so there's an infamous example from the anime Yu-Gi-Oh, where the protagonist always draws Pot of Greed, and he's always like, "I activate Pot of Greed, which allows me to draw 2 cards." And then about 100 episode in, you very much know what it does.
But he still says it?
He still explains what it does every single time.
They explain every card every time they play it.
Here's the thing. For a series like that, I didn't watch every single episode. I just like randomly tuned in.
See, that's the thing. It's for people who are randomly tuning in that may have never seen this series before. Get into it, like understand what's going on, even though they haven't started from episode 1.
Yeah. I think it's important to make the distinction for a long-running series where you might not have viewers watching every single episode because it's really hard to, right?
Right.
So instead they just do that exposition, like the repeated exposition, so then any new viewer who shows up can actually like understand what's going on. I mean, for like something like Yu-Gi-Oh, like there was like, I don't know,
220 eps from the original Duel Masters, like in the main Duel Masters series.
Yeah, so when I tuned in, I remember tuning in like once when they were in their like original hometown, I guess, and then again on the island, and like I forget things. I'll be honest, like it'll be like months in between when I watch the series, and then I'll be like, okay, I don't know what this card does anymore. But then, like, they'll pop up. You're like, I play Blue Eyes White Dragon, and it has 3,000 attack points. I'm like, oh, okay.
You're just like, oh yeah, it does.
Yeah, they did have fancy. They did have visuals for that, didn't they? They had like the attack and defense whenever.
Oh yeah, they show the card on screen.
Yeah,
something like that.
But I think most people just pay attention to the picture, not necessarily the like stats for it.
Yeah.
Well, it comes up with it actually, it's not like on the card itself. It like, well, it is, but it also comes up with like a visual, like
like a box just in the corner. It'll be like 3,000 or whatever.
Yeah, it actually comes up as like visual as well.
Yeah. But
I mean, it's an easy line to just say it has 2,000 attack points. Like it's not like it's taking
Yeah. I mean,
you're not saying it has 3,000 attack points, which in case you didn't know, is actually quite a bit for a monster level. Because most monster levels have like 2,500 or 2,600, and it's just like, okay, we don't need all this information.
In case you didn't know, the number 3,000 is bigger than the number 2,000.
Right, exactly.
Yo, man, I didn't fucking know that.
In case you didn't know, that means I'm gonna kick your ass, man.
This is the math portion of the podcast.
Oh my god, this guy is gonna kick his ass.
Oh god. But I think we can see that in like a lot of other. You guys have seen long running.
I think we all have.
At least
I mean,
so you can think of like examples where they know that they're not constantly watching, so that they end up repeating things. Because I guess there's a bunch of filler, so people might just skip it.
They do that a lot in Digimon. They're repeating a lot.
Okay.
Specifically the Digivolution animation that's like 45 seconds long.
But I think they do that because like it's a kid.
Episode.
Oh, sorry. Are you done or like?
Yeah, I am done.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry for trying to cut you off.
No problem. I had like one word left.
Okay, but I was gonna say like it's a kids show and kids want to see like those awesome monster like transformations, so they're gonna like milk that for everything it's got.
Okay, that's fair.
I mean that's what I interpret it as, like, from the parts of Digimon that I've seen.
Okay. That makes sense.
Yeah, I'll be honest, like, transformation sequences are my favorite. I mean,
that shit's hype as fuck.
The kill la kill transformation sequence.
Don't lose your
way! Okay, but see, it can be hype, but if you're like me, and you watch 150 episodes of Digimon in, like, 3 weeks, you get kind of sick of it.
Right. See, that's like if you're binging. If you're watching it like week to week, that might not be as bad.
It probably wouldn't be as big of a
problem. Or if you're
a
kid and you like forget shit easily, then yeah. Like I said, it's a kid show. It's like
that's true. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Legitimate question for these like Digimon Yu-Gi-Oh shows: has anyone actually seen the original sub? Like,
no.
This could potentially be just a side effect of them changing it in the dub.
That's true.
That yeah.
It could be.
I mean, I guess,
I don't know.
but
At least with my
I
Digimon
figured-
example, that was a very clear visual thing. So
Like
Oh,
4Kids was known to change like animation
oh my God,
parts in like their One
Kids.
Piece dub. Like say Sanji's like I think Sanji's like cigarette is like
Cigarette
is a
the
lollipop or something.
and Zoro is Zolo.
I understand changing a cigarette to like a lollipop, but like changing someone's name unless
Well, because Zoro is copyright. There's the master.
oh that's right.
Zoro.
Oh yeah, okay, now I get
So they
that.
just can't use Zoro.
Oh,
they just have
man.
to change it to Zolo.
Hmm.
It's like the JoJo problem, where they can't use any of the actual names because they're all musical references.
Bravo,
Yeah.
Rocky.
Oh, that makes me curious as to what Part 4's names will be.
They're already, the games are localized, so I assume this is the same.
Oh, okay. Oh.
Like Shining Diamond and Reverb and stuff.
Shining Diamond,
Shit,
no!
that sounds like something I'd hear from like G Gundam. Like Shining Diamond. Like that's
Well,
someone's like battle name or not battle name, but like attack name.
Didn't some Gundam have Shining Finger?
Yes, Shining Finger, which is not even a finger,
Yeah.
by the way. It's a fucking hand. It's the Gundam's hand is the one that part that glows.
Maybe it just
Oh,
says
man.
hands for fingers.
I
You don't know that.
Dude, I feel like I do though, but he just so like the MC Domon from from Mobile Fighter G Gundam, he's like Shining Finger, and then his hand just like fucking glows, and he just like fucking just he does like Scar from Full Metal Alchemist. He just puts his hand on someone's head, and they're just fucking their whole body just fucking explodes. But except it's with Gundams. It's like the most hype shit ever.
So just nuts and bolts and oil go flying everywhere?
I mean, it's just bits and pieces, like explosions and shit.
Sounds pretty great, actually. I kind of want to watch it now.
I mean, the plot, like the overall like plot writing, like is kind of bad, but that's like not the point of the show. It's like the point of the point of the show is just like to have robots. They solve all of their problems with gigantic robot fights, which I thought is like
Sounds
the
great.
most stupid, but like at the same time kind of brilliant way of just solving your problems. Like they have disagreements on like ideals and like philosophies, and they just solve their problems with like, oh, I disagree with you on this one thing. Let's have a giant robot battle. It's like, okay, I'm okay with this. This is fun.
Oh my
That's
god.
almost as good as
Okay,
settling
okay.
your differences through card games.
Yeah.
Okay, guys, I think we need to get back on
Yeah.
topic. Vo, do you think you can think of any examples of exposition that was really like shitty, just made you hate life and stuff?
Oh, I can't think of a very particular example that I didn't like, but the most annoying one in that I've recently experienced was in the Chimera Ant arc of Hunter x Hunter. Like, I'd heard it was bad, but you get just situations where the narrator would repeat everything, but it's not like JoJo. It's not funny when he does it. So, I don't know, like, someone will be doing something. They will say that, okay, like, oh, I'm going to go over here. And then the character walks over there. And then the narrator will explain the character walking over there. But it's
And then
just
the
not a
narrator will
one-time
explain-
occurrence. Like, a third of the time,
then-
the narrator's talking, explaining what people do.
And then the narrator will explain what they were thinking when they walked over
Yeah.
there. Like, in the time it took them to walk over there. And then it'll explain everybody else's thoughts in the room while they're all doing their actions. And it's just like,
So what?
Yeah,
like,
you have
why
to
does it need a
narration.
Oh
narrator?
my god.
Oh, you go first.
you have so much narration that there's a point where there is like 2 or 3 episodes that span 10 seconds of in-show time.
Oh, that sounds really like
Yeah.
frustrating.
No.
Like, I
meant-
feel
I
like
meant
they could. It
that's-
seems like they could just
that.
do like internal thoughts for the characters with the characters' voices, not necessarily.
See,
just,
that
like, with
wasn't
the narrator.
that wasn't all that bad because those were like the hype 10
It wasn't-
seconds, and they showed a lot. They showed a lot of different people doing a lot of different things in those 10 seconds. It was
Yeah, there was
almost
a
justified.
lot going on.
Okay.
It's
See, I
still,
mean, I
like-
haven't finished Chimera Ant arc, and I haven't got to like where it gets like a lot. Well, like how you guys describe it, but
You'll see it.
I mean,
You'll get there
I've heard
Pretty hard to miss.
like mixed things about. I've heard it's like the best Hunter x Hunter arc, but I've also heard it's like it suffers from horrible pacing issues. And
It's
I
not
would
just
agree with- I would
pacing,
agree with-
it's just like
A lot of that.
there's a lot that I didn't care about in that arc, but that's a topic for another day.
I just want to say, like, there's a lot of stuff that I thought I had a problem with, but then there's also a lot of stuff that I really loved.
It probably
All
had the high
together.
points of the show, but it also had a lot of the low points.
Okay. So you mentioned like different types of exposition through what narration, character dialogue, character thoughts happening all at the same time. I can think of like another example of exposition or another form, which is like flashbacks. Smurf, can you think of any like annoying examples of like flashbacks, or maybe good examples of flashbacks to help the audience understand a concept or something?
I haven't really had a problem with any flashbacks I can think of. The only one thing that I can think of is there's an episode of Fairy Tail where somebody shows up that like you thought was gone, like long gone, and they're just like, "What? Why are you here?" And they're like, "Well, you see," and then it's like a 15-minute flashback, like explaining everything that happened in the time that took me back, and it's just like,
that sounds painful.
all right. Well, so
Yo,
but sometimes
okay.
sometimes it can be kind of annoying because it's just like you couldn't just summarize this in like 2 minutes. You had to give me a 15-minute flashback.
I have a legit question. Okay, so when they flashback, right? Is the character just standing there and talking? Like,
do you think they like sit down and then get comfortable? Like, this is gonna be a long one. I better get some popcorn for this.
Yeah.
That actually happened in an episode of Hunter, where this guy with a pompadour, it was explaining his ability to the protagonist, and he's just saying like every little detail, and the protagonist is just there getting really frustrated. I'm just like, hey, that's me right now.
Yeah, I remember
you can
that.
self-insert into the protagonist. Nice.
And by the end, it's
Nice.
just like,
It's always fun then when a show recognizes that people often don't like kind of exposition, so they have another character like kind of play off of that like, comedically.
Right.
Like I think I remember that in I believe that probably happened in One Punch Man. Like one of the monsters is like one of the monsters is like explaining the whole backstory, and Satama's just like, yeah, I don't care at all.
He just doesn't give a shit.
And then he just punches them and they explode.
Hey, whoa, man! Spoilers. I didn't know
spoiler.
he
punches
everything.
he punches things. Actually,
But how many times
punches
does he punch
things
it?
once?
sometimes
Punches it once.
no, sometimes consecutively.
Wow, that kind of defeats.
I
That's
thought
kind of like
the
misleading.
title
Punches
was One
all
Punch
sorts
Man.
of things. I mean, they can die after one punch, and you can just keep punching them.
I mean,
Well, that's brutality, man.
I
it
mean,
should
it's
be
a
multiple punch man if you know what I'm saying. Like,
Show needs to fucking change his title. Fucking lying to me. I thought it was. I signed up for One
felt
Punch.
cheated. I want my money back.
The money that I didn't pay when I illegally watched it online.
Yeah,
Yo, man, we can't.
dude,
say
we'll get
that.
removed off of our anime.
Whoa.
Whoa.
No, it's fine. It's fine.
We have a fucking mod here right now. Listening
Oh
to
shit!
us
Don't
talk about
don't ban me, foe.
It's too late. It's too late.
Oh no!
Dude, ripping pepperoni.
You criminal scum.
Oh fuck! Oh, he got you there. Oh yeah. So okay, we've given a lot of examples about exposition. I think people can now have a solid idea of what exposition is like, good and bad examples and shit. Let's talk about something else. So can a series be successful with little to no exposition? Like, can they avoid that whole, like we discussed, it's kind of like a lazy writing style for inexperienced authors, or maybe not inexperienced, but majority are inexperienced, and they just need to convey their information, and info dump is the easiest way for them. So, is there like series that you can think of where they don't really tell you much, but it's still enough to like keep going.
Yeah, I got one, and that's Techhnolyze.
Okay, go for it.
Like,
Damn it, Becca.
Techhnolyze is like
Go on.
a very. You can help me out with this. It's a very show don't tell show. Like the first episode of the show, like there is no dialogue for the first like 10 or 11 minutes of the first episode. And it's all done through show don't tell. Like you have to kind of, it's a show that you have to pay attention to kind of get. If that makes sense. And you don't get like you don't get the quote unquote exposition episode until about episode 4, which is funny because I said Shinsekai Yori had their exposition episode at episode 4. It's kind of like what I said in the beginning. Like I want to see like things happen a little bit before I get information about the world and characters. And it seems those two shows that I happen to like do that really well.
I guess it's impossible to like not have exposition, so just because of how broad the definition is.
It's kind of a necessary like people like to, I guess, criticize like info dump, like just straight up info dumping, but like exposition in itself is like kind of necessary. It just depends on how you deliver it or give it to the audience.
Because exposition could still be like there's like a shot of a TV screen. It's like breaking news. This and this is going on, and then like. It's less than a second. That's still exposition, though, by definition.
I guess I mean I prefer like the more extreme versions just because that's what's really noticeable. But there, like when I phrased the question, I meant like heavy exposition, not like light exposition.
I guess I have an example.
Okay.
I think episodic shows can generally get away with not having a lot of exposition. Like Cowboy Bebop. Cowboy Bebop has some episodes that are kind of exposition heavy. It's like specifically the ones that are relating to like Spike's backstory, like episode 5 and
like
whatever.
Some of the later episodes.
Like, because there's like a handful of like main plot episodes scattered about the series, but for the most part, I feel like it's just pretty laid back and doesn't really have to rely on too much on exposition. Like there's an episode where it's just like, oh, they accidentally all got high on mushrooms. Okay, that's cool. I don't need any backstory to explain this to me. I can just I don't need you to tell me what kind of mushrooms they are or where they grow. Like. It's just something that happens.
All that we know is that the mushrooms make you high as fuck, and that's really all you need to know.
And all you really need to know in that episode is like they accidentally took mushrooms. Can I just sit back and watch the random crap they do while they're completely high on mushrooms? And it's just totally fine because they don't need to worry about it. And I really like that about Bebop, how it kept me entertained. That I didn't really need to know about the world. Like they do definitely go into it at points, but. For the most part, I don't need that. You can enjoy the show perfectly without knowing who the characters are or what their backstories are or anything like that.
Yeah, you just see stuff happen.
Yeah.
I guess you could also talk about like some slice of life shows will also do the same thing where they just kind of you just know that these characters exist and then they just kind of do nothing.
Right.
And that's fine. I've heard I'm blanking.
I've heard that Non Biyori, I believe it's like that. Where it's just 4 girls in the countryside who
like they go to school and they do like stuff you would probably do in rural Japan, whatever that entails. It feels like
finding a
life.
legendary sword,
right?
Okay. So I'm gonna mention a series that Becker was alluding that I would mention.
Well, I'm not surprised you mentioned it.
High School DxD.
Like, I haven't even seen the series, but, like, you just will not shut up about it. God. But go anyway. By all means, go ahead.
Yeah, fucking Oregairu.
Oh my god.
My favorite series. Which basically means I'm hated by everyone on our anime. Unfortunately. But, okay, so... It's probably one good example of show don't tell, at least from an anime perspective, because it heavily reduces the main character's thoughts. How the LN is written is it shows everything from the main character's perspective, and he might go into detail about like irrelevant things, but that's not really exposition. That's just irrelevant shit. So you can just skip it and not be any worse for the wearer. And then like when it comes to things that actually matter, he lightly explains it, but the actual implications of what he does is more or less left up to the viewer's interpretation, which is great because the writer assumes I'm not stupid, I'm not like dumb. He even says this in his fucking afterword. He's just like, yeah, I think you guys are.
The show does not hold your hand through it.
Yeah, it does not. Like so I think everyone knows about the infamous "Nice Girls" speech from season 1.
I've heard of it.
I've heard about it.
Name,
I never
I
actually like sat down and listened to it.
No.
Okay. Do you mind if I
okay, go.
Do you mind if I talk about like the special thing relating to it?
As long as it's not spoilers.
I mean, if it isn't spoilers, then go fuck ahead. I mean,
it might be spoilers.
Yeah,
I just want to explain like
I would stay away from
like if have you heard it?
It?
Okay then, but okay, so I'll just say then it like something happens in that scene, right? But he does the implications of it is not directly told to the viewer. You have to infer it. You have to figure it out for yourself, which is really nice, right? And for me and for a lot of people, once we got it, like the series just shot up in the rating.
How do you know you get it though?
Like, I know
that's what I want to know. Like,
you have to get good.
It's more like no, it's more like you just don't take it at face value.
Like,
I mean, it's pretty much
you can still like interpret
like,
something and kind of like be like totally in your interpretation be totally fucking different from someone else's, even though you look beyond its like face value.
Yeah, I get what you're saying, but it's just because I think everyone's used to anime where they kind of explain the motivation and the reasoning and like mistakes, especially.
Like, there's not much room for like interpretation. Like, you already kind of know like what's going on, or what they're thinking.
Yeah, it tries to make sure that you understand like what's happening. But whereas this, it just kind of like does it, and then you can have very different interpretation of it. I think a lot of people who like the series, when it comes to that scene, the nice girl speech, you have two different camps of people: the ones who took it at face value, and the ones who understood the meaning behind it.
Or at least understand
like,
or at least
a meaning behind it.
Yeah. I don't think there's like one definite meaning.
I think even if you don't catch the exact meaning that the author intended, if you can come up with your own
meaning, that's cool. Like,
then I can totally understand someone liking the show because they came up with their own interpretation. And
well, that's like
some
the
people
death
like
of
shows
the
that can
author,
make
isn't
them
it?
think about things. What was that?
I mean, discussion.
Well, that's like death of the author, isn't it? You guys are aware of that, right?
A little bit, yeah. I see what you're saying.
Okay. So it's apparently this really long paper, but I only know like basic point of it is that the author's interpretation doesn't even matter, and that as long as you can just justify what you believe is right, then you know it's right. Then your point is valid.
Okay.
It doesn't matter what the author intended with it.
That makes sense.
Okay.
Yeah. So essentially, like, there can be more than one meaning. Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
Cool.
I know that the meaning for that scene has generally just been something that was agreed upon after a lot of people discussed it. But I get what you guys are saying. Like, you can interpret it in different ways. Main point though is that you don't have to take it at face value, and you can look deeper into it and derive more enjoyment just from understanding it more.
Right, without the show,
like a more complex understanding.
Yeah. Like, even later, it shows him doing things, right? And it only gives you his thoughts behind it, but there's definitely like tons more,
like more than meets the eye.
Relating. Yeah. Because that's the thing. When you have like there's a lot of series where they'll give you like all the characters' perspective. Like they'll have all the characters in their thoughts. Like a generic example would be, they do a confession scene, right? And you hear the thoughts of both the characters involved, right?
Mm.
So, and meanwhile, what I'm explaining is like they'll only show you one side of it, and then you're free to interpret the other side based on details that you pick up on. So, which is nice, because I prefer that, you know. At least for series I care about. There's a lot of series that do that, and sometimes I don't care for the series enough where I just don't put in the effort. And it's unfortunate, but I still respect series like that do that. Like NGE, for example.
NGE was one I was thinking about when he was talking about people interpreting something about the story. I was definitely thinking about.
Oh, I was thinking about Angel's Egg. Like, if you guys ever heard of Angel's Egg, it's a very it's a really old anime movie.
I haven't seen it,
and
but
it's
that's sort of what I was
entirely
thinking
based on your
about.
interpretation.
Yeah.
What was that?
Yeah, I haven't seen it, but that's sort of the first thing that came to mind when Show Don't Tell came up, apart from Techhnolyze. I don't know.
Thank you. It's alright.
Yeah.
It's a very symbolism heavy movie.
Yeah.
Like, and it's based entirely on your interpretation. Like, there's not one set one way to think about it. Everyone has a different interpretation about it. That's what I find interesting about the movie. But
Okay. So bringing it back to relating to exposition, Showdown is definitely a powerful tool when it's done correctly. I think we can think of series though where that causes problems. So yeah, the series Oregairu, especially in the second season, a lot of people got really mad about the series because they were just they didn't understand. A lot of them didn't understand, and it was very apparent in discussion threads because people got angry that in order to understand the series, they had to read essays.
See, I like reading essays about anime. I didn't understand Texhnolyze when I first watched it. I didn't understand all of it, but I know I liked it. And so I read other people's interpretations of Texhnolyze, and I was like, oh, this is really interesting. And I rewatched it with other people's interpretations in mind, and I feel like I got a better understanding of it. If that makes sense.
Yeah, I think that works a little bit differently than show you liked and you're interested in finding out more about it. I have the opposite where the first floor of Concrete Revolution aired last season, and I did not care for that at all. And I did not get. There must have been something there because a lot of people liked it, and I didn't. I guess I just didn't get it at all. But it's I have no interest at all in reading about it. When I watched Fooly Cooly, Becca, and you sent me that forum post explaining Fooly Cooly, I already had an interest in it, and I was like, oh, I wonder how close my interpretation was.
And you said, I think you said it was pretty close.
It was almost dead on to what I thought, but with Concrete Revolution, I just don't care at all. So I think you have to have some form of interest in the show. I don't think you can just go read an essay about every show. So, what Dude Man said, if they didn't like Oregairu season 2, I can't imagine they'd want to go read something about it to understand it.
Yeah, this kind of sucks. I mean, I got into Oregairu because I read Bob does essays on it. So, shout out to him. He's a great person. If only he posted on the subject.
Oh, he posts. He usually posts now that he works for Anime News Network. He usually posts his essays on ANN.
He works for Anime News Network.
I
didn't know.
He goes under the name Nick Creamer, so that's his. I think that's his IRL name.
Okay.
And I see people occasionally post his articles from ANN onto our anime, and he posts his own articles too, from time to time. I guess because I spend a little. I think I spend way more time lurking on our anime than I do posting. I just notice the shits. But
okay. But yeah, he got me into it because he explained the series. He pointed out all these small details that really made the series interesting, and that was fantastic for me. I liked it, and then he made me love it. and now I'm the biggest weeb when it comes to it, and it depresses me very much.
Yeah, we
Very, very much.
We're aware.
Whoa.
Yeah, fucking terrible guys. I don't want to. Like, I fucking okay. During the discussion threads, I would like I'd try and like post early, just because I think you guys know about that. And okay, at the start of the thread, I'd post like an essay, or like not an essay, but I would just like post some of my thoughts, and then I'd try and explain some stuff that happened, and then I get downvoted to like -10. I was just like, why?
I feel like I sometimes see
Why?
that in just episode discussion threads in general. Like, people just get hella downvoted. Regardless or not if it's like what they're saying is like
Yeah,
of content.
No, it was-
people just downvote every fucking thing in the thread.
there's a note issue where people would downvote the other post.
Oh yeah, that
Yeah, I understand.
I could see that.
That was terrible. But no, it was specifically the essays, and the fact that a meme was made on our anime about those essays kind of proves my point.
I mean, people are gonna meme about everything,
Like,
but I get what you're saying.
I mean, is there a problem?
Yeah, I would make a shout out.
Memes are forever.
Beams
I mean,
never
is
die.
there a problem?
I-
Is there a problem?
I would make a shout out to.
Is there a problem with 1 in 10 anime like being not exposition heavy and up to interpretation? Like, a lot of people don't like it, but if it's just
No.
1 in 10 or something like that, which is probably an overstatement because it's
fine.
anime.
I mean,
I think it's. I don't mind it if there's some open interpretation. I just know something not sure that I would like.
Which
I
is
think
totally
that's
fine.
more.
It's almost
I'm
like
not gonna go
someone.
on Texhnolyze just because-
It's almost like someone watching a shitty generic harem anime and then complaining that he doesn't like shitty generic harem anime. It's like, then watch something else. It's not hard.
Yeah.
oh man, but that's asking people to be reasonable, and that's a big mistake already. Okay.
Yeah.
Like,
People
oh
are
my God,
unreasonable
I-
enough, like in general. What, like,
Okay, I would want to do a shout out to a couple users who are a very good example of this, but I don't think
Probably
I can,
shouldn't.
It'll hurt their
I
business.
feel
Do
like
it
if
anyway.
we're
Don't
gonna
Fuck it, man.
Mention people. You'll probably want to mention people positive.
Yeah, I want people to think I love all of them, when in actuality I hate a very select few of them.
Yeah, like that Becker guy.
Don't worry,
Fuck him.
you'll know who you are eventually. Yeah, fuck that guy. He's an ass.
Not anymore.
you know, that one guy.
He's better now. He's better now.
Okay. He's okay. So do you have any series that you know of that has that really emphasizes the show don't tell portion?
Well, I mean, two of my favorites are Neon Genesis and Texhnolyze, and they've both been mentioned already, so...
No, you can talk about NG. We barely touched on it.
We hit like the
So
tip of the
don't wanna go
iceberg
there.
with NG.
I haven't watched
Okay.
it. I haven't watched it in close
Okay,
to 2
that's-
years. I don't want to say something dumb.
Didn't you host the rewatch for
Well,
it?
I mean, you
though?
can host a rewatch and not everyone who hosts rewatch watches the show. They
Yeah, I got sort of
the
lazy.
show.
Oh, although I must say one thing. It sort of links back to what we were saying before. I have this one thread, and I have this one friend, and when the show is open to interpretation, he's always just like, "What the fuck just happened? This is stupid. This anime is bad." It's
That was my
frustrating.
reaction when I first finished the Evangelion. I was, what the fuck just happened? And then I had people tell me, like, send me videos, like, watch this video, and I watched it where they kind of tried to explain it. I'm like, I get it a bit more, but I still don't like it.
Yeah, they're just
Yeah.
people who want everything
so-
spoon fed to them. Like that guy I was talking about.
Right.
They just want everything explained perfectly. So in the end, they can just
And they get
Yeah,
like mad when
fanboy
like it
about-
isn't given to them
Yeah.
in
yeah,
like really
pretty much.
quickly. I get what you're saying.
Smurf, your mic is committed to.
It's hard to hear what you're saying right now.
Oh no.
It's about the same. It's
I'm dying.
Yeah, you're dying slowly.
maybe
you're
that's a
cancer,
good sign
I'm
that we should maybe wrap up then, like before it gets worse.
Yeah.
probably.
Okay, so okay, final question. This is a big one. do you think, how much exposition do you think is necessary? And do you think the anime community needs to, like, grow past being spoon-fed? Like, I'm sure there's a lot of people out there who just want to be spoon-fed everything and not think while they watch. I mean, that's understandable, but there needs to be series out there that
that links back to what we said before. It's unreasonable to expect other people to be reasonable. Like, you're gonna have a bad time.
Right.
If my mic works.
Okay.
No,
Yeah,
still
go
doesn't
ahead.
work.
Just say something.
Okay.
Just say it.
I'll just talk louder. I'll just keep thinking my mic.
Yeah. Just
I
go ahead,
think
say it.
that it's fine as is. I think that shows that require thought to interpret the overall message have their audience already. So I don't think we need to worry about other people changing their tastes just to help a market that they're not interested in.
Okay. What about you, Becker?
Same. TBH.
Same but not
Okay,
same.
thanks for that input. I just want people to stop shitting on shows that actually require like you to think a bit. I'm not a fan of it. I'm not a fan of shitting on shows in general because a lot of times it happens.
I feel like most of the time, the shows that are shows like that get shit on are shit on by people that don't really like those shows.
Yeah, but like you're being a dick.
I
But some people
guess.
don't care. Some people want to be different.
Sometimes just being an asshole is fun. Like, I would know. I'm an asshole. It's fun. Don't knock it till you try it, man.
Dude, don't influence our audience like the whole, 25 viewers we still got here.
The message you can take, or that you can, the interpretation that you can take away from this Exposition episode is that it's okay to be an asshole if you want to.
No, we can't do
Listen,
that.
And
kids,
that
don't go to
concludes
school and
our
do
episode
drugs.
on being a dickhead.
Fucking hell. Okay. You know what? We're at an hour.
Yeah.
We're probably past an hour, TBH. We're gonna just wrap up. Don't listen to these fucks. Okay? Be a good person. Eat your fruits and vegetables.
Listen to your mom. Go to church if you believe in that.
Wash behind your ears. That shit's important, yo. Like, fuck. Some of y'all don't wash behind your ears, and it's hella nasty.
Dude, that's terrible. Who doesn't wash my...
Some people don't do that, man.
I'm
It's
actually
fucking
confused.
gross. It's one of them.
How do you wake up in the morning and you're just like, I feel okay? Don't you feel like nasty waking up?
Not really.
Just
You
like,
don't.
oh god, I need to wash.
I mean, that's why they invented coffee. Right?
Do you
Guys,
bathe in coffee?
doesn't substitute a shower. You take a shower to be clean and to wipe the grime off.
Yeah, but we're talking about feeling good here. It's entirely separate things.
Hey, did I fix my mic? Guys? I think I fixed
No, you
Not really.
Still shit. Okay, we're gonna wrap up. We'll see you guys later.
Alright,
Bye.
I hope you guys enjoyed our info dump.
Adios, bitch.
You can't just say that word!
But aren't we encouraging people to be an asshole?
Yeah.
No!
Alright,
Just stop now!
I guess go stop the recording.
Stop watching!